Oh my god, I'm so happy I got paid today. Finally, I can spend some money again. That's awesome! Do you want to go to the mall with me today? Well, unfortunately, I don't actually have the money yet. The bank was closed when I got off work today, so I haven't had a chance to cash my check. Your what? Hallo, servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Felicia. I am currently in my hometown Munich in Germany, and in my videos I'm talking about cultural differences between Germany and the United States. So far I have spent about a year in total in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm about to go back there for another year to get my master's degree. So this is one of the first topics you'll get in touch with when you enter a foreign country, money and how to make payments. You'll probably get in touch with that topic within the first few hours in a country, like for example when you're trying to get a cab at the airport or buying some food somewhere. And especially with America and Germany, you might think that there really isn't much of a difference when it comes to making payments, except for maybe the currency, US dollars in America and euros in Germany. But there actually are a lot more differences, and when I first came to Cincinnati for my exchange semester 2 years ago, a lot of these things really surprised me. Okay, so I'm just going to start with the basics here. This is something that probably most of you guys know already. Americans like to pay with debit and credit cards a lot more than Germans do. In America, you can literally pay everything with plastic, as they say. Even if it's just a pack of gum or a bottle of water at a small convenience store. I know a lot of Americans that never carry cash on them, just because they never need it. In Germany, you can obviously pay with debit and credit cards as well, but it's still very common to have cash too. That's why when I'm in Germany, I always try to have cash on me, because a lot of places here still don't accept cards, especially when you're trying to get something at a small kiosk, at a fair, at the bakery, get food at a food truck, something like that. Also, in some bars and restaurants, they have a minimum purchase requirement that you need to reach before they accept cards. So, for example, when your tab is under 10 euros, you have to pay in cash. Also, in general, I think that Germans tend to use debit cards a lot more than credit cards. The German debit cards are called EC-Karte, and a lot of Germans don't even have an actual credit card, even though it is becoming more and more popular because you often need it to make online payments nowadays. Overall, I think it's just a matter of convenience and a matter of habit whether you prefer paying with cash or with plastic. I personally like both. I think that paying in cash a lot makes it easier to have an overview of what you've spent so far, and paying with a card is just very convenient. You don't need to carry around a lot of money all the time and carry around that heavy change. So before I came to America, I seriously thought that checks were a super outdated payment method. And I personally mostly knew it from movies that played back in the day, like Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. So I was really surprised when I found out that they're still very much a thing in America. People use them to pay their rent, make big purchases like when they buy a car, and a lot of people even get paid in actual checks. So the expression to live from paycheck to paycheck isn't just a figure of speech, but a lot of people in America actually still get physical paychecks. And then they have to run to the bank and cash their check, which means that they actually get the amount of money in cash, or they have it transferred to their bank account. In Germany, checks aren't really a thing anymore. Almost nobody here owns a checkbook. And before I came to the US, I had literally never seen a real life check or a checkbook in my life. The most common way of how we make bigger payments, except for using debit and credit cards, is online banking. Rent, utilities, insurance payments, all of these things are usually directly booked off our bank account, and paychecks are usually wired directly to our bank account. So the way it works is that you usually have an online account at your bank with a login ID and a password that is different from the PIN that you use at the ATM. And in that account, you can make payments and you have an overview of all of your payment transactions. And for every transaction that you make, you have to type in an individual TAN number that is either sent to you as a text message, sent to your phone in an app, or you can also have a special TAN generator device. And each of these options has to be verified by your bank first before you even start doing online banking. So this is how you make sure that your account is safe and that only you can make payments from there. And for rent and other monthly costs like utilities, a lot of Germans have set up standing orders so that the money gets booked off their accounts automatically every month. To this day, I don't quite understand why checks are still so important in America. Some Americans have told me that it's a matter of security and that some people are scared of hackers there, but at least in Germany, online banking is very safe and I don't know of any cases where someone has been hacked. Also, I feel like this explanation doesn't make too much sense because at the same time, Americans love to pay with their credit cards, and giving away your card at a restaurant isn't very safe either. The interesting thing is that in France, checks are still very common too, even though it's right next to Germany. So I'm just wondering why. So now that we're already talking about paychecks, I was really surprised when I found out that a lot of American employees are being paid once a week or every 2 weeks. That is something that is very, very rare in Germany, if it happens at all. In Germany, the standard is that you get paid once a month. Maybe for taxation reasons or something, I'm not quite sure. But I feel like being paid weekly or bi-weekly probably goes well with this whole living from paycheck to paycheck mentality in America. Because I feel like when you only get paid once a month, you probably have to do a little more planning and math to figure out how much you can spend now in order to have enough left at the end of the month. In general, I think that this paycheck to paycheck lifestyle is more common amongst Americans than it is amongst Germans. I've seen numbers that showed that even when a German and an American make the same amount of money every month, the German will end up saving more of that money than the American will. And that's something that I've observed myself in America. At least to me, it seemed like the average American likes to spend their money sooner than the average German, and the Americans also like to treat themselves with the money they earned. Germans like to be financially secured and they like to have savings in their bank account. And I've also observed that some Germans feel like they need to justify themselves whenever they spend money just to treat themselves, like for example with good foods or drinks or an overpriced vacation. Of course, I'm generalizing here, a lot of Americans have big savings as well, but I still think it's an interesting trend to look at between the average American and the average German. So I've already mentioned that a lot of Germans have standing orders set up to pay their monthly utilities. And the Americans amongst you might have been wondering when I said that, because utilities don't cost the same every month, right? At least that's how it typically works in America, that you pay your bill for water, gas, electricity, either at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month for what you've previously used. Well, in Germany, you usually pay for your utilities in advance. So in the beginning of the month, you'll pay for water, gas, electricity for the entire month coming. And the amount of money that you pay for it is usually an estimate of what you'll probably use in 1 month. And it's either based on your consumption of the previous year, or if you just moved into that place, the provider will often give you an estimate of what a household your size typically uses in your area. And then at the end of the year, or when you move out, if you move out before the year ends, you'll get a bill for your actual consumption and either get some money back when you have used less than what you've paid for in advance, or you'll have to make an additional payment if you have used more than what you've paid for. I've talked to some Americans about how this works in Germany, and I remember that they were really surprised, and they told me that that would never work in America because Americans apparently don't like to pay for something that they haven't gotten yet. And they also said that that would probably be coming with a lot of fraud. So maybe you could say that Germans overall are a little bit more reliable, genuine, and trusting than Americans are. And I'm not trying to offend anyone here. This is just something that might be a conclusion from this. And maybe this is also why getting your gas first and paying for it afterwards at the gas station works just fine here, even in the big cities. One last thing that I'd like to mention when it comes to making payments in Germany versus America is Venmo. I'm not sponsored by Venmo, but I have to say that it is very convenient. So it's a mobile payment service that you can download to your phone as an app, and that a lot of young Americans use to make payments, usually to their friends. Venmo is owned by PayPal, which most of you guys probably know, and it works kind of similar to it, but it also has a social media aspect to it. So you create an account, connect your bank account to it, and then you can search people by their names. You can friend them, and you can send them money or charge them for something. A lot of people use it when they hang out with friends and like get dinner together, go out, get an Uber together, and it's just more practical in the moment that one person pays for the whole group, and then everyone else can get out their phones and open the app, and then they can just pay that one person back. It's not limited to making small payments though. I, for example, have also paid my rent in the past through Venmo, so it seems to become more and more popular and accepted. What I think is very interesting about Venmo is that, first of all, it is only available in the US. Like, I'm in Germany right now and I got a new phone, but I can't download the app because I'm not in America. And second, a lot of people on Venmo make their payments public. Since it's built like a social network, there is a feed that shows you who of your friends has made a payment to someone else or has charged someone. And there is an option to make those payments in private, but most people don't use that option. And to me, as a European who is a little bit more sensitive to protection of data, I think it's a little weird. Like, why does everyone have to know how much rent I'm paying and who I'm paying it to? Like, this is definitely something that would be different if Germans used this app. I should also say that besides Venmo, a lot of other mobile payment services like Apple Pay or Google Wallet are used a lot in America compared to Germany, but I don't really use them myself, so I can't really say anything about it. So these were the main differences that I have noticed when it comes to making payments in Germany versus the US. As always, feel free to leave me a comment if you have any background knowledge on this or if you just want to share your personal opinion. I hope you guys liked the video. Subscribe to my channel if you did. And also, go follow my brand new Instagram page. It's called spelled like this. It's also in the description below and linked to this channel. So I hope I'll see you on Instagram and next time on YouTube, of course. Tschüss!